Last year at the State Fair of Texas, Ford showed off the all-new 2020 lineup for the Super Duty trucks. Sad to say they've already canceled the State Fair of Texas for this year, but a few months ago I also drove the 2019 F-250, and that made me very excited about driving one of these 2020s. And now I've been behind the wheel of one for a full week. This is the 2020 Ford F-350 King Ranch. This is a huge truck and made even bigger by its long wheelbase and that huge box. We'll talk more about that, all the details with this thing, see what's new for 2020, and of course, my thoughts on it all. Let's get into it. All right, so first let's talk about some of the configurations and trims of the Super Duties, because there are a lot. Now obviously you can get a Super Duty in an F-250, an F-350, or an F-450. Each of those are gonna have a little bit different setups that you can do, and obviously each of those have different numbers like tow ratings, fuel economy, and things like that. With all of those, you can get a regular cab, which is a 2-door setup, a super cab, which is a 4-door setup with smaller back seats, or the crew cab, which is the 4-door setup with larger back seat. You have an option of bed sizes from 6 3/4 foot or an 8-foot bed like we have here. And based on what you choose there, you have different wheelbase length. This one happens to be a 176-inch wheelbase, which is one of the larger wheelbases you can get. Trims include the XL, XLT, the Lariat, the King Ranch, like we're driving here, a Platinum, and a Limited. So the King Ranch almost falls in the middle there. It's not the most expensive one, even though this is a pretty expensive truck. We'll talk more about the price a little bit later though. All right, and like I said, we're driving the King Ranch trim. This is the crew cab. We do have the 8-foot bed, and we have the King Ranch Ultimate package here. That package includes the LED fog lamps, LED tail lamps, the quad LED headlamps, the twin panel moonroof, the multi-contour seats, the power deployable running boards, and the tailgate step, all which we'll check out in a little bit more detail in just a second. All right, so let's start off talking about the exterior design with the front end here. You do have a unique grille for the King Ranch. This is the chrome 2-bar style with caribou inserts. On a base F-350, you get quad dual beam halogen headlamps, but of course we have the quad LED headlamps from the King Ranch Ultimate package. We also have the LED fog lamps up here. Moving along to the side of the truck here, there is a lot to see because this is a long truck. Again, we do have that 8-foot bed right up front on the front fender. You can see the King Ranch F-350 badge. You can see the 6.7 liter Power Stroke moniker there for the engine setup, which we'll talk about in just a second. We do have power folding side mirrors, and those fold on lock, which is really great, something that I've complained about with some other Ford trucks. I like that you can fold in the mirrors, but a lot of times you have to hit a button on the inside. It doesn't do it automatically when you lock the truck, so this one does. Really great feature. Another nice feature here are the power running boards, so they can be tucked up. So if you're off on a trail or something, you're not gonna have to worry about dinging those. They're tucked up, and whenever it's time to get in, they fold down. Not a revolutionary kind of thing. They've been doing it for a while, but it's a great luxury touch for this King Ranch. You can also see that this is the 4x4 version by the 4x4 sticker on the rear. Our wheels here are 18-inch wheels. You do have available 20-inch wheels, but I think these look really good, especially these rear ones with the King Ranch logo in the cap. Moving along to the rear of the truck, you do have those LED tail lamps, which again are an extra option for this King Ranch Ultimate package. You obviously get that King Ranch logo back there and Super Duty stamped into the tailgate. And speaking of the tailgate, you do get a nice drop. We do get the integrated step into the tailgate itself. Which when I first saw, I thought was pretty gimmicky, and then I used it once on the F-150 and I absolutely love it. We also have LED box lighting back here and a fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package, and a spray and bed liner from Tough Bed. All right, moving right along, let's check out the engine under the hood. All right, and again, you do have a few different engine options when it comes to these Super Duty trucks, and they have been upgraded for 2020, including an all-new engine, which we'll get to. The base truck gets a 6.2 liter flex fuel V8 engine. You can get the 6.7 liter Power Stroke V8 turbo diesel, which is what we have here. And this is the third generation of this engine and has been updated in power for 2020. And the all-new engine is a 7.3 liter V8 engine, which gives a massive amount of power. Like I said, our engine is the 6.7 liter turbo diesel V8. It's upgraded for 2020. It has a new 36,000 PSI fuel injection system featuring injectors that can automize fuel up to 8 times per stroke to optimize combustion. It also features stronger block cylinder heads, connector rods, and bearings, plus new forged steel pistons, which means 475 horsepower and 1,050 foot-pounds of torque. And all of that is hooked up to a 10-speed torque shift automatic transmission. All right, and with that, let's jump inside and take a look at the rear seats. All right, first things first, these are huge back seats. You could have a field day back here. Ton of room, ton of knee room, ton of foot room, ton of leg room, hip room, head room. It's just a massive back seat, and that's always great for families or hauling around a bunch of workers. You obviously get nice, comfortable leather seats, the same leather seats that you get up front. We do have a pull-down armrest with a little pull-out cup holder. We have our own AC vents back here, as well as USB Type A and USB Type C charging, a 110 volt 400 watt max power outlet, and an accessory port. And this is as good a time as any to talk about the panel sunroof. It does go all the way back to the back. Back seats also have storage underneath. And it's just, again, a ton of room. Moving along to the front of this thing. All right, and up front behind the steering wheel, again, a ton of room up here. Comfortable seats. These are the multicolor King Ranch seats that you get with the King Ranch Ultimate Package. And of course, it's got that King Ranch logo in there. They are both heated and ventilated seats. Very nice. Of course, the King Ranch adds unique panels, wood grain, unique Kingsville antique effect leather seats, and branded running W's throughout the interior. And that is a twin panel moonroof. This slides all the way back for the rear seats, and a sunroof here in the front. A lot of the amenities that you get here are much like that you get in the F-150, F-250, even the Expedition that we drove, the King Ranch that we just reviewed. So you get a nice large driver information display, and you can select what's most important to you, from off-roading to towing to just general information, including your trip. The steering wheel here is your pretty basic Ford steering wheel with your multi-controls, all your infotainment controls here, controls to interface with that trip computer, and your radar guided cruise control. As you can see, it is a push button start. We also have our 4-wheel drive controls here, from 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, and 4-wheel low. And further down here you have the trailering controls. Always nice to have a little extra control there. Right up front in the console you do have a USB Type C and USB Type A ports, and a wireless charging pad. Up at the top here you have an engine brake button, your traction control off button, hazard lights, lane keep assist, and your 360 camera. I don't just love the 360 camera for backing up and parking, but even parking in my driveway. Since this is such a long truck and my wife's car usually parks behind it, I need to be able to see how close I am to get as close up to the garage in the front of the house as possible, so there's enough room behind the truck. So you do have a button that you can click to turn it on, even if you're not backing up, so you can see that full 360 of the truck and get it as close as possible. You also get a 12-volt accessory outlet and a 110-volt 400-watt max power outlet. And finally, you have the infotainment display with the sync system. Everything here is nice and responsive. Again, pretty standard for a Ford vehicle. Nothing different than that in the F-150, F-250, or like I said, even that Expedition. We also have the B&O sound system, and it sounds pretty good. All right, and with that all out of the way, let's take it for a drive, and then we'll talk about some of the price and competition here, and then we'll wrap this video up. So driving wise, I mean, what can you say? It's a very comfortable truck to drive. It's huge, but it's not a burden to get around. You get that nice backup camera, the 360 camera for parking, which is great. You get all the amenities that you might want, which is great. You have the four-wheel drive system, so basically the entire time I've been just driving it in the two-wheel high, but you can put it into four-wheel high or four-wheel low. You can lock that rear diff. You've got all the amenities for towing in this thing. You get all of Ford's new safety features, including lane keep assist and radar guided cruise control. This thing is made to haul heavy loads, but just day-to-day driving, it's still a really good vehicle. Of course, it is a diesel truck. You do get that diesel engine note, which is great for some people. Some people love that diesel engine note. It can be a little bit loud, but actually it's not really terribly loud at all, even driving through our neighborhood. So that's always a plus in my eye. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the price of this thing, starting with the base F-350. You can get the XL F-350 for $35,550. That's going to be the regular cab. It's going to be the most base options, but if you're looking for an F-350 for work or for hauling something and you're not looking for any of the amenities, that's a really good price. Next, you have the King Ranch. The base on the King Ranch is $60,850. And again, that's a pretty good price, but you're missing out on some of the King Ranchness of this, including those power running boards and some of the extra luxury features. And with all those extras that we have, our truck is about $80,795. Now, this is actually a pre-production truck, so we didn't have an exact price on this, but I did the configurator online, checked all the boxes that I saw on our Monroney here, and $80,795 is what it came out to be. So with that, obviously you can compare it to the other heavy duty trucks on the market from Ram, from Chevy, and I really like the Ram heavy duty trucks. I drove a Ram F-350 dually probably 5-6 years ago, but it was a great truck, and I know they've continued to improve upon them. I haven't had the opportunity at all to drive a Chevy heavy duty truck, but I like what Chevy has done with their Silverado recently, so I'm sure the heavy duty trucks are just fine there. But there's something about these Ford Super Duties that I just really like, and this one is no different. I really like this one. I probably wouldn't go for the King Ranch, at least this interior. It's a nice interior, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that like the style. I personally don't. I would like just black leather seats or something like that, but that's a personal preference. But with that, let's jump out and start wrapping this thing up. All right, so obviously this truck is capable of way more than I can put it through in this review. I didn't get a chance to tow with it, but it's made for towing. I didn't get a chance to off-road with it, but it is the 4x4, and I know this thing is a pretty good beast off-road. Although if you're doing any kind of serious off-roading, I'm sure this isn't your first pick of truck. What I can show you is how it is to live with day-to-day, driving to the office, hitting the highways, hitting the backcountry roads. And for that, quite frankly, this truck is overkill. It's a comfortable truck. It's a beautiful truck. I've really enjoyed it for the week, but if you're not doing any kind of serious work or hauling in this thing, it's probably too much. You should look at an F-250, maybe an F-150, but it is a truck that I really love, and when I see guys hauling down the road in one of these things. Even if I'm driving an F-150, you get a little bit jealous. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the new Super Duty trucks, especially the F-350 King Ranch. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.